Last night in Budapest, a man lifted the Champions League trophy for the third time in his career. 3 titles, 3 different chapters, and every single time before it happened, the world told him he couldn't do it. He was too intense, too confrontational, too stubborn. His own words were, "I've been attacked, vilified, and ignored." His response to all of it, 2 back-to-back Champions Leagues with a club that had never won one in its entire history. This is the story of Luis Enrique, the most underrated coach in the history of football. Luis Enrique is not a normal football manager. He doesn't smile for the cameras. He doesn't play politics. He doesn't care what you think, and he'll tell you that directly to your face. When journalists criticised his tactics, he called their opinions a bad word on live television and didn't apologise. When Paris Saint-Germain's president asked him if he was nervous before the Champions League final against Arsenal, Enrique reportedly told him they would win, not might win, not hopefully win, would win. Al-Khalifi himself confirmed this, saying Enrique told him before the match they would win the Champions League. That's not arrogance. That's a man who has built something so solid, so deliberate, so thought through that he already knew the outcome before it happened. But it wasn't always like this. When Luis Enrique was appointed Paris Saint-Germain manager in 2023, the reaction was lukewarm. He had just left the Spanish national team after a decent but unspectacular World Cup campaign. Before that, his Barcelona treble in 2015 felt like ancient history, a decade old. The football world had moved on. Guardiola was the genius. Klopp was the emotion. Ancelotti was the elegance. Luis Enrique was the guy who won one big thing a long time ago and had not really replicated it since. And then he arrived in Paris and did the thing nobody expected. He looked at a dressing room full of expensive, ego-driven players, and he cleaned house. Not with cruelty, but with clarity. His message was simple: fit my system, or don't play. In a city built on glamour, in a club built on superstars, that message was either genius or career suicide. We know now which one it was. Here's what makes Luis Enrique different from every other top manager working today. He doesn't buy greatness, he creates it. Ousmane Dembele was a problem child at Barcelona. Injury-prone, unreliable, a talent that seemed permanently wasted. Under Enrique at PSG, the same coach who worked with him at Barcelona, Dembele became one of the best players on the planet. He lifted the 2025 Ballon d'Or after a 33-goal season, the same player. A completely different human being. That's coaching. Kvaratskhelia, Vitinha, João Neves's Desire Doué. A generation of players that nobody outside their own countries talked about 2 years ago, now feared across Europe. Enrique didn't find superstars. He made them. And the system, the relentless pressing, the positional discipline, the collective over the individual, it is not just effective, it is beautiful. In a world where football increasingly rewards individual brilliance over team structure, Luis Enrique built the ultimate counter-argument. Let's talk about what last night actually means, historically. Because the numbers are staggering. With back-to-back Champions League titles with PSG, added to his win with Barcelona in 2015, Luis Enrique now stands alongside Pep Guardiola, Bob Paisley, and Zinedine Zidane as a 3-time Champions League winner. Only Carlo Ancelotti with 5 titles stands above him. Think about that list. Paisley built the greatest Liverpool side ever. Zidane won 3 in a row with the greatest Real Madrid team of the modern era. Guardiola reinvented how football is played, twice at 2 different clubs. And Luis Enrique is now in that group. He also becomes just the 5th manager in history to win 3 European Cups after Carlo Ancelotti, Bob Paisley, Zinedine Zidane, and Pep Guardiola. And here's the detail that will stop you in your tracks. Luis Enrique has never once been eliminated in a Champions League final. Played 3, won 3, a 100% final record. Not even Guardiola can say that. And yet, ask most football fans right now who the best manager in the world is. Most will still say Guardiola. Some will say Ancelotti. Very few will immediately say Luis Enrique. That's the most fascinating part of this story. The man just joined the most elite group of coaches in football history, and he's still somehow underrated. After the final whistle in Budapest last night, a journalist asked Luis Enrique if he now considered himself a legend. His answer was, "Legend? I'm not interested in that." Of course he isn't, because he's already thinking about the third one.